We gave a long list of problems that this country has, and we suggested that there was no way to fix it that seemed to work. And the question at the end of that last discussion was, why is it true that we can't seem to fix the problems that we have in our country? And the concept that they want to bring to us is, they say the answer to that question is because advertising works. And of course, then they have to immediately say, now that sounds like we lost our train of thought, but wait. A minute of advertising during a Super Bowl costs over $6 million a minute. Do you think these big corporations just throw that money away? No, they do it because it works. Advertising is a process of telling you something over and over again until you believe it. Come on, you know that's true. You've seen, you got an hour show and you got 20 to 25 minutes of advertising. Do you think they do that because it's fun? They do it because it works. So they're trying to tell you that the problems that we have in this country today fall around the fact that advertising works. Whew. Last place, when I saw that, that's the last place I thought they were going to go. I didn't see them going there. So they say if a person had enough money, they could advertise to you on TV, radio, or the internet, and you will eventually come to believe what it is you're being told. If that advertisement is more convincing than the other messages that you get from those various places, then you're going to believe what they're saying, no matter what anybody, if somebody comes along. Conspiracy theory. They've got you down so that you just don't believe anything but what you're told. They're saying if you don't believe that, we'd ask you to look at the global warming lie and see that the world temperature at the time that global warming was all put out was from 1900 to 2014, the temperature didn't raise even 1 degree centigrade. I have no idea where it's, it's like 2014 now, and have no idea where it's going to go, but it isn't going to go where we didn't have that severe upswing golf club hockey puck graph that they showed you. It never happened. It never will. But they lied to you, and they charged businesses, and they did all these things, and they're constantly doing that. And what they're saying is, if you don't believe that advertising works, then why did you believe global warming? If you do any research on if you do any research at all, you're going to find out that all kinds of things are you being told, and they aren't true. And that's what this is about. You are being told all kinds of things in advertising, and that includes the news, the television and magazines now. Isn't much radio, but even radio, if you're in your car, there are people that have enough money, and they're doing just that. There are people with enough money that they're actually doing this advertising, and this is the real cause of the reason that we can't get anything done. They go on and say the most disgusting form of intelligence games. Now you understand. Manipulation is advertising. There's not a person in the world that believes anyone has the right to take away free will. Yet that's exactly what advertising does. What did we say? We said, and they're adamant about this, advertising takes away free will. Advertising is so terrible that it enables those in power not only to take away your free will, but they get you to pay for taking away your free will, because advertising works. Who pays for advertising? When you buy something, you pay for the advertising on that product. You pay for taking away your free will. That's what they're saying. Now they go into it because they know that it's going to be a hard thing for you to conceive of and believe, and you're told all manner of things in the advertising so that the bad guys look good. But let's get down to it. The overchargers we'll get to who they are and what they are. The overcharges get you to pay just like 52 cents extra for a box of cereal. And every one of you who buys that cereal has just helped pay for the advertisement that made you buy the cereal, even if you didn't want that kind. Now think of your toothpaste, your shoes, your gun, your house, your car, even your husband or wife. Are they all tainted by advertising? And thus, may they not have been what it is you really wanted in the first place, had you been able to keep your free will? That might seem real radical, or it might seem real obvious, depending on where you are with your understanding. But, it's time to take a really good look at it. The fact that advertising works points to the two things that you need to know. First, when you find out how bad you've been had by those overchargers, the redeeming fact is that advertising works. The fact that advertising works absolves all who are under its spell, and that's everybody pretty much. If advertising works, and it does, then how can you be blamed how can you be blamed, or anyone be blamed for what they do because of it? That's the first part. In other words, it's not your fault. Advertising works. It's not your fault. Secondly, and far more important, it points to the fact that someone is using advertising to manipulate the you who are not to blame. Someone is using advertising to manipulate you. Who? Who's doing all this advertising? They say the overchargers. Who are these overchargers? Now we're getting closer to the problem. The answers and a whole myriad of other things are going to be answered when we get to that problem. The problem here is the same as the problem of fixing what went wrong. We do not know who. We do not know how they do it. We do not know. We do not know. And until we're truly ready to find out who they are, they will dance us around and around like their little pet puppies. Let's go to the overchargers and their game. How can you make millions of dollars? How can one individual make millions of dollars? There are millions of ways, and we choose to bring it down to the truth of what it actually is. And here they're kind of, I wouldn't have gone in this direction, but they don't fool around with extraneous things like, well, we're going to have to stop the people that are selling coal, and we're going to have to stop the people that are selling oil. We got to put a wage or a charge restriction on a bowl of cereal or a box of cereal. You understand what I'm saying? Too much work. So what did they do? Well, it's like you can't do it. It's too hard. So what did they do? They just went. They went around the wall. They don't go through the wall. They go around the wall. They said, there are millions of ways, and we choose to bring it down to the truth of what it actually is. You make millions by overcharging, and that is the only way. Now think about what was just said. If you charge what a thing is worth, and do not overcharge, you'll make a normal income, an acceptable income, even a reasonable income. The only way to get rich and to make the millions that people make is obviously to charge more than the thing is worth. That makes you, who's an overcharger, a cheater, a thief, a rotten person, and worse, with advertising, you get us to honor you. That's just plain sick. And in fact, you are sick. Now, they haven't held back anywhere that I've seen, and they sure aren't holding back here. The only way you can become massively wealthy is you're overcharging for something or a multiplicity of things. I mean, that doesn't take a genius to figure out. If you're charging what it's worth, you don't make millions. If you're overcharging, you make millions. If you have millions of people buying gas and you charge them an extra 50 cents, you make millions. And everybody and the people that are involved in doing that thing don't think anything about it because it's only 50 cents. But you have like 300 people doing the 50 cents, and all of a sudden it's a lot of money. And it gets far worse than that because they're charging way more than that for things that aren't worth what they're demanding you pay. But that you've nailed it down. You've got it set up so that they're overcharging, and that's the only way. So now you've got them overchargers. You've got them being cheaters, thieves, rotten people, and even worse than the sickness that you already see, the fact that they advertise to you to get you to honor them is just plain sick. They drive a beautiful car and they got a chauffeur, and you honor them even though they don't pass any money your way because you're advertised to, and that's what you're told that you should do. Advertising work? Yes, it does. Okay. Allow us to give you some background information on who those overchargers are, and how they work, and the feeling toward you. Who are they we are talking about? Well, let us explain first by saying who they are not. They are not any police officer, any Army, Navy, Air Force, or Marine person, any government official, or any other person you've been programmed to think is your true enemy.